Welcome. Yeah, now you are automatically muted. It's a webinar, so you are just in view mode, so we can't hear you talking, but you can hear us. If as we go through the interview, you have any questions, please put those in the Q&A. You can comment in the chat, but if you want a question that you actually want us to ask the panelists, then you want to make sure you put that in the Q&A section so that it doesn't get lost. Sometimes that chat gets busy, which is a great thing, but it moves so fast we lose sight of the question. You're very welcome. Hi, Chris from Chicago. And all questions are welcome. Again, thank you all for joining us. For those of you who are new to the 10K project, we're so excited that you're here joining us. It's always so wonderful to see some new names in the participant list. And hopefully this won't be your last 10K event. And to all of my 10K members, I see y'all representing. I see y'all. Okay, I see one of our panelists in the participants list. Let me bring her up. Very good. Hello, hello. Hi, MC Sharrock. How are you? Oh, you're on mute.
Hello, how you doing?
Oh, fine. How are you?
I'm here.
That's a wonderful thing. You are here to bless us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're just letting the participants come on in. They're telling us what city and state they're from.
Okay.
They are all over the country.
Wow, that's awesome.
Hi, Precious from Louisiana. Hi, Ken. Welcome. All right, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Dallas, Atlanta. Wonderful. Again, to everyone who's joining us for the first time, welcome to the 10K Project. We appreciate your presence here today. Hi, Brenda from Neptune, New Jersey. Hi, Tawana Chapman. Welcome. And Boyce from Little Rock. Hi, Trent.
Russell is still not there. I know. She said they called him nonstop. That's not easy. Okay.
And then check your text on WhatsApp, okay?
All right. We're going to give Russell a little time to get in. It's very early in the morning where he is. So as many of us are ending our day, he's beginning his. And we're so grateful that he was willing to get up early and come talk to us.
Right.
Hi, Sharnetta. Welcome. Hi, Chantel. Hi, Miss Vivian. Indigo, you said early. Where's he at? He's in Bali. Hi, Tangi. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Ryan, nice to see you.
Oh, we're streaming live on YouTube and on Twitter. Welcome out there in cyber world, all the places that we are streaming to. Hi, Miss Charlotte. Welcome, welcome. Yes, Trent, we are still having our Bet on Black pitch tonight, 8 p.m. Yes, sir. We would not miss that. We've got a great entrepreneur that we're going to highlight this evening as well. And for those of you who are 10K members, you guys remember Hassan. He was one of the companies that came and he pitched to our community.
One of my best experiences ever, I can say.
And as you see, we never let them get too far, right? We keep them in the community. We're all one big family once you join the 10K project.
One great family, I could tell you.
Somebody's looking for a hint for your Bet on Black this evening.
Oh, someone's looking for a hint tonight. Tonight is the food industry. So this is a restaurant and it's chicken. My favorite food, chicken. Well, it's actually my second favorite food. I don't want to tell you what my first one is.
I know what it is. I'll send it to you.
Must not be healthy, but it's good.
It's not healthy. healthy, but it is delicious. Okay.
It's a matter of opinion. All things in moderation could be good for you.
Oh, it's not healthy. I don't think we can eat that. We can't even make believe my favorite food is healthy.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Oh, goodness. Trent, not burgers. No,
That would be my
Sorry.
favorite food.
that's Talicia's favorite food. I thought yours was tacos.
I mean, I love Taco Bell, but that's not my favorite food.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit record and I'm going to start kind of introducing everyone. And then hopefully when we get through that, Russell will be able to come in and then we will introduce him. Not that he needs an introduction, right? But we will introduce him as well. So let me hit record. Welcome everyone to the 10K Project. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Tawana Rivers and I am the Chief Operating Officer here at the 10K Project. We are the largest community of small dollar investors. We believe in funding our own businesses. We believe in innovation from our people. And we also believe in creating jobs and building wealth. And so if you want to know more about the 10K Project, please go to our website, the10kproject.com, learn about us. We've got some testimonials from some of our members, from some of the entrepreneurs we've helped fund. We also have, I think, a wonderful explainer video that if you take the 2 minutes and 17 seconds to watch it, you'll understand exactly what we are and why we exist here. And so thank you all for joining us. I have with me this evening, Talicia Shine. Talicia is the co-founder of the Black Blockchain Consultants and our resident crypto and blockchain guru here. So you can't talk about NFTs or anything blockchain related without having Talicia Shine in the house. And so thank you, Talicia, for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Tonight, the 10K Project and the Black Blockchain Consultants are honored to bring to you guys the Masterminds of Hip-Hop NFT project. We're so excited about this project. And so joining us, we have Hassan. Hassan is with PayBaby. PayBaby is a neobank, and they're built to empower Black and Brown communities to build wealth and to be able to allow you to have all of the benefits of banking. As we know, there's a large portion of people in our communities that are unbanked, and Hassan and his team are working diligently to solve that problem. And then I'm gonna crush a little bit because MC Shyrock, I'm a Bronx girl too.
Ow. Ow.
Yes, I'm gonna crush just a little bit on you, sis.
Yes, yes. That's what I'm talking about.
Let me tell you, growing up, girl, you were everything, still are such a pioneer in this industry.
Thank you.
Sharon
Thank
Green, aka MC Shyrock, is considered the first female rapper or MC. Sharon began as a local B-girl or break dancer in the South Bronx in the 1970s when hip-hop culture started to take root. The mother of the mic also made milestones, being a member of the first hip-hop crew to appear on national television, Funky 4+1. The latter became hip-hop royalty when their tracks Rappin' and Rockin' the House in 1979, and That's the Joint in 1980 became radio hits. Green's style of rapping and early mixtapes influenced a generation of rappers, notably MC Light and Daryl McDaniels, DMC of the iconic group Run DMC. Sis, welcome. Thank you so much for blessing this stage with us this evening. We are so grateful to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate y'all and everything that y'all doing for the Black and Brown community. So listen, thank you. Thank you for having me. Am I supposed to say anything else? Because I know y'all got a lot of other people to take care of and introduce.
We'll get into it. You want to talk a little bit about what you've been doing here lately?
Oh, I mean, Well, listen, I'm rocking with y'all right now, and of course, I'm a part of the Russell Simmons movement of the NFTs for, the foundation of MCs or, DJs that has really pushed the culture forward. So I'm happy to be a part of Masterminds of Hip-Hop. Send a shout out to Russell Simmons. If I always respected him, as a businessman, but just him as a person making sure that the voices of MCs are heard. So I want to give him that props first, and I don't want to go on and on. Hip hop is something that I love, it's something that I helped build, and as a female, it's made me who the woman I am today. So let's send a shout out to the true essence of hip hop culture.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Talisha, as we talk about NFTs and start to introduce this concept, as you know, there are many in our community that may know what an NFT is. And then there are some people that joined us tonight because Russell's handsome face was on the flyer, right? Let's just be honest. So what we want to happen tonight is we want to educate people so that when they leave here this evening, they'll understand the essence of this project and why it's so important for us to know about it, right? And to participate in it. So Talisha, can you start us off by telling us what the heck is an NFT?
Again, it's an acronym, which most people, don't know, but it's a non-fungible token. And in layman terms, that just means a unique digital asset. Everybody knows what that is. It's what unique is, and digital an asset. It can represent something tangible or intangible by ownership rights. That's one of the things that it has. It's an authenticity aspect to it. It is one of the oldest use cases of blockchain technology, which again, that's the infrastructure. These are applications, just like the internet is the infrastructure, and Google, Facebook, all of those are the applications that you use. So an NFT is your authorization to a product or a service or a digital asset. And at that point, it also has the ability to be programmable. And I think a lot of times that's get lost in all the sexiness that we see with the collectibles and the music and the art. This is where we kind of get into a bilateral exchange. Not only are you, the consumer, now a part and owner of this, but now you have a connection to the actual seller. And as an artist, this is very important because now this is where you can track who has ownership of the thing that you created. And that's really important, specifically in this space. And again, we can go all the way from, physical artwork, from, pictures and sculptures and all of that, to truly IP, and even to just the mundane things like your healthcare information or contract that you have. This is where we get into having these bilateral exchanges because the infrastructure supports ownership, immutability, which means that it cannot be changed. It's encrypted, meaning that it's safe for you to know, and somebody's not going to be tampering with this information or using false information to kind of get people to do other things with it. So this application truly has all of that enhanced in it, and that's in our reality. So when you take it a bit further and go into the metaverse and alternate realities, it goes to a whole nother level. This is where we're seeing video games in the metaverse come alive, where you now have ownership in that realm as well, not just in reality, but also in the alternate realities.
So when you break it down for us, I heard you say collectible, right? So when I think about this in its simplest form, right? Mm-hmm. I think about how people collect stamps and people collect coins. So now you've got this digital collectible, this NFT. How do people make money for it? Because we know how people make money on collecting stamps and collecting coins, right? Mm-hmm. They hold them for years and years and years, and then eventually they're worth more than they were, when they first got them. How does the value of an NFT accrue?
It can happen in many ways at this point, because again, now you have, if you're having a physical item, say you have a rare stamp, but that's a physical thing, but you want to show that it's yours, that you have the true ownership of that. So at this point, you have rights and ownership that you can now leverage in any space, reality and metaverse, and still have the product because you have a physical aspect. And again, you can leverage this in a DeFi space, which is you can collect, dividends on it. You can now leverage it for, some other aspect. You want to use it as collateral for something. That's always a place. Or again, you can sell it, but also have the residuals coming to you. So that's where the artwork would come in. It's like, yep, I sold you something, but I made it. So every time, even if you sell it, I have a transactional record of how everything has happened, and I can still get that money back at any point in time as the original owner of the piece of art. And now as the seller, I still can get residual income from that. And that's kind of where we're moving into this, having physical and digitized aspects. Some of these are interchangeable, which we have to remember, because you still have a physical product. We'll get to that point where we have a house, but you can digitize that. And just as you use that as collateral, you can use that as collateral in all different areas. And that could be the NFT. And so again, people kind of mix and match them. At some points they are, they are the same, but then there's also very different. And again, this is something that we utilize to show ownership and to have a conversation between all parties that are transacting many times. I think that's the key aspect. It's not just a one and done. You can keep this relationship going with your consumer as the seller. You're never one degree of separation, because you have that NFT. I can always be like, hey, Tawana, how'd you like that stamp? What you doing with it? What you doing over there with it? That's where we kind of come into where this is, while we are savvy consumers just don't want a transactional. They want something else to take with them. And the collectible means something, but now I want more. I want you to talk to me. I want to tell you when you're in town. I want to know when you're doing something new. I want to see your Instagram and, have a conversation with you. That's what the NFT gives you with the programmability of those smart contracts.
Very good. Hassan, did you want to add something to that? Oh, you're on mute.
I said that was one of the best explanations I ever heard.
Yes.
That's why we got it here. We know what we're doing.
We I will say that early innings of NFT, because of what Talisha said about programmability and other, the power of it is just now being discovered. You know how MP3s made digital music, and then streaming was the next level. Now the whole area of mixing all that up and the power of it is going into NFTs. So people are talking about that it's going to disrupt the Spotifys of the world, the Netflixes of the world, because that all could be programmable and put in something that could be owned and traded, and the people that own it could do it directly. So there's so much that could be done with this, and we're just getting our heads around it right now.
And this is old. I think this is another part of it. Blockchain technology has been around for quite some time, and we've just kind of merged some of the technologies all together. And NFTs were one of the very first ones, because again, it's just authentication. Most people, that was the very first thing to kind of leverage. But as we go, I said, this is where the sexy things come in and really show that adoption, and people will like that craze. Whereas we'll see this, the true adoption will come in from really kind of lame technologies, such as, buying your food on certain things, programs, or, exchanging your healthcare information. It'll become so innocuous to you that you won't even know, but that NFT is what's going to be powering it, because that's the packet of information that's going to be shifted, and you will have control. And I think that's the key, is consumers who holds that NFT is really the big part. And what can it do? Because it's also very much something that can be given and taken back at a certain time frame. That's where the programmability, I can give you something in exchange for something for an amount of time. I don't have to just give it to you in perpetuity. I can be like, okay, you get it for 48 hours, 72 hours, then give it back to me. And that's how we're also moving. So we're going to see this movement of how data from a consumer standpoint is that now you are the owner of the data rather than just giving it freely away.
Great point. And I will add one more point related to Masterminds of Hip-Hop. So the Masterminds of Hip-Hop is the collection of the original people who started hip-hop. And many of them, at the time, they didn't even get record deals or whatever, because it was a new format. And their beats have been used millions of times, because even among those who end up getting a record deal or whatever, they took the whole record, but they may have beats, maybe 5-10 seconds, or a line, a rap line, and they never got compensated. With NFTs, that all could change. If you could take 5 words and put that in an NFT, your copyright is established instantly. So the whole possibility of artist ownership and their ability to control their work is now much, much greater, given that we have NFTs around, if they're used properly. That's something that's really important for our community. In particular, a lot of the things that we create, we lose control of it. And, because we can't afford a lawyer and all this other stuff. You don't need to do that anymore. Just make an NFT. Boom, you got it. You own it.
So MC Sharak, I was going to ask you what made this attractive to you. I would imagine some of what Hassan just said is very attractive, right? The ownership and having rights to your work.
Girl, Hassan hit a nerve. But when he started talking about people not getting paid, y'all got to remember, I came in from the ground floor, the first female MC, authentic MC with a record deal before. So I was on the streets of New York rhyming before record started. Yes, I was the first authentic female MC from the streets, but I ain't get paid for it, and I'm still in court to this day with lawyers. So when Hassan said, okay, we didn't have enough lawyers to pay for it, I had to get a lawyer and give them half of everything that I get, because half is better than nothing. You understand what I'm saying? After 40 something years, half is better than nothing. But when Russell Simmons approached me with the NFT, I was sort of kind of doing a little bit of research on how, this worked. And you, Tawana, broke it down on a level where I thought I knew, but you told it how it's really supposed to go down, and you made it very interesting. And I think that exactly how all of y'all explaining it, Hassan, Tawana, of how the NFT works, I think is very profitable for the MC, for the DJ, for whoever that's getting involved in NFTs. I think that it gives you full control and full ownership, something that I have never had, in the history of hip hop culture. I got it now because I learned from my mistakes. But growing up as a young teenager, helping build hip hop culture, I never had that. There you go. So the thing is that
Hello,
hi.
hello.
Hello,
Sorry,
sir.
I'm sorry
Once
for the
again,
mix-up on the time.
now you were somewhere fold up with your legs crossed doing yoga. That's what it
You
was.
are good.
Good morning.
But you're here.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And that's all that matters. You're here. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us so early.
Yes.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And thank you, Russell, for introducing the NFTs to a lot of us hip hoppers. I truly appreciate you.
All right. Well, it's my pleasure. I think we got a lot of work to do to educate more of us,
Yes.
because I'm not only on NFT but all crypto. So there's a lot of work to do. We want to have a kind of equal access and understanding. So this is a good start.
Yes.
So Russell,
I agree.
welcome to the 10K project. And with that intro that you just gave, you're absolutely right. There's so much work to do. Tell us how you got into the space. Tell us about Masterminds of Hip-Hop.
Well, honestly, I wasn't too, and as much as I learned, it's evolving so much. The platforms, the understanding of it for me is evolving all the time. So I got up one morning and our Japanese partners, Takaya, contacted us through because Gush Cloud operates in 11 countries. So our Japanese company contacted me to do an NFT. I did an NFT, and then we started to contact other celebrities for them to bring them onto this NFT platform and start to build out their relationships. So we did that work, and I thought about something that had been on my mind for a while. They talk about bringing art onto new platforms and bringing old art onto new platforms, and that usually is a shift where people reignite their passion for a particular kind of art. Every time there's a new platform, every time a Spotify or something like that opens up, then people get a new chance to revisit old ideas. So some ideas that have not flourished properly, including a healthy respect for the founding fathers of hip hop, needed a reboot. And this one for me was something that had been on my mind. I had just visited the Hip Hop Museum, the Universal Hip Hop Museum, the site, and there's also some completed work on that site where you can see the first 10 years of hip hop. At that time, I noticed that they had some product, or not some ideas stored, and some music stored that I thought was really interesting for young people to hear. In other words, if you listen to the new collection, you'll hear Hollywood's vocals from 1976. You'll hear Eddie Cheever's vocals. You hear Sha Rock's vocals, right? So these vocals are rare, and also their history is not told properly, or it's rare where it is. The history books have not really done a lot of work. So what I'd like to do, what I mean by that is a lot of it's been told by the artists. And each artist has a vested interest in telling their story their way. So I felt like if we have an exploratory process where we include the NFTs, documentaries, books, and other forms of, and then we do the research around these stories in Masterminds of Hip-Hop, then we get a bunch of artists, not just one perspective, but the most famous artist speaking what he remembers. Because, you know, if you're from Harlem, you have one perception. If you're from the Bronx, you have another. And it depends on where in Harlem or the Bronx you are, what you believe. So you have to get a collection of artists. And so I thought maybe that would be helpful in hearing different perspectives about some of the same stories and masterminds, if you will. So I thought some were underrepresented who aren't promoters. I felt like Hollywood, for instance, you and others, they're not real promoters. And so they didn't really get their story told. And rather than change what history it is, just to be more inclusive of the stories of other masterminds and to get a more rounded perspective, which I believe the Universal Hip-Hop Museum is dedicated to as well. So I felt it was a worthy cause for me to get compensation and credit for those artists who maybe didn't get the compensation, for sure didn't get the compensation or the credit that they get. If you think about these giant artists who are standing on their shoulders, they don't even know, in many cases, whose shoulders they're standing on.
Right. Yes, that is so true. Oh, goodness. I was sharing, Russell, that I am a Bronx girl. So you're absolutely right. When you say, depending on even what part of the Bronx you're from, your experience is completely different. And when I think about artists today, I love that now they have something to tap into to really learn the history of hip hop. It is this rich culture. It's this amazing life force of its own. And now you've created these NFTs where people can tap into it that typically haven't taken the time to tap in. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that for the culture, for sure.
Well, for me, it's an obvious thing to do. It's worth its weight in gold. I believe that the NFTs we're creating are museum quality, and that over time they will keep growing in value. You can't get, Universal Hip-Hop Museum's music that we have, that these cassettes that have been cleaned up and created for this next generation are priceless. The stories are priceless. A lot of the guys who came up when I started working in hip-hop are gone. So for me, I really want these guys to tell their stories and get their flowers. Thinking about Lovebug Starsky, if you listen to Hollywood's, after he sings that, I don't know if you guys have heard the roll, 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 your joint twisted at the end. Light it up, take a puff. He said, Starsky, and it just broke my heart just hearing his name. I used to watch them perform together often. And, as a promoter, I kind of did travel the boroughs. I did work in Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem, and the Bronx in hip hop. So I did pre-recorded music. These performing artists, I did kind of see most of the artists that we're talking about. And I did hear the cassettes of most of the artists that we're talking about. So I had a little bit of a more broad perspective, is why I felt so strongly that a lot of it has been not manipulated, but been told more by one artist than the other. And some artists have been not celebrated properly.
Yeah. Wow. So tell us, during this first launch, because I know there's so many artists to come in the future, but during this first launch, tell us some of the artists that you're highlighting.
Well, we got Sha Rock, right? We got DJ Hollywood, we got Eddie Chiba, we got the great Grandmaster Cass. We have Coke LaRock coming. I'm not sure he's not in this next collection. But we have a lot of the guys who really were there at the beginning. There's disputable over who was the very first. Pete DJ Jones, who was, kind of like when I was a kid, before there were rap records, Pete DJ Jones had his echo chamber. So I was going to talk to him.
So did I. Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
So did I.
Pete DJ Jones. No, I know you did, baby. I know you did. And your music that we have now has it all over there. No, but he had an echo chamber.
I appreciate you.
But P.J. Jones had an echo chamber in much, much earlier, before everyone. before there was, because PTA Jones and La Boya were not hip hop DJs. They were, so I don't know if I should, you know, but a lot of what they gave us turned into the first hip hop DJ. I guess Kool Herc heard them and was inspired by them. So there's just a lot of ways to describe what was first. Hollywood would say he was rapping in 74, right? To say that, Eddie Chief would say 70. So they all go all the way back. And we don't know exactly, but I think an exploratory documentary where we get all the historians, but not historians who read it, the book, unless they read it in places, but historians who were there, or people who were, or just people who were there. And they can say, here's why I know what year it was. Maybe we can start to dig into, and maybe we don't have to resolve who was first and what was first. We have to, what we need is to, you know, the influence that each of them had and the impact each of them had. We need that recorded. We need that documented and minted, if you will. So that's what we're doing, not to actually change the perceptions, but to give people an added insight. Does that make sense?
This platform specifically makes it a repository. And I think this is why when we capture digitized information, it's not just to digitize it for prosperity, it's actually to use it as a commodity and to leverage it with regard to information gathering. This is where we can use it as a resource for everyone to consume from, and then actually have an exchange. You can't go to a library and write, you know, the Wikipedias of the world. The book is the book. This is a live, dynamic thing. So I can say, I remember when I saw you first on 8th Ave, I can now participate in this, and that can actually go into the resource. And as a decentralized system, this is what it's for. This is kind of the information that it would be absolutely phenomenal for.
That's a great point. And Ken makes a great point too, that we have to capture these stories ASAP while we're still here to get them, right? While those artists are still here to tell us the stories.
So many artists passed away. We dug into some of the first generation of recording artists as well. The Big Daddy Kanes and a bunch of the artists who are from that era where it was the golden age, I guess you might call it. So a lot of those artists are already signed up and their NFTs are being made. And so there's that next generation, and even their stories. You know, I lost so many artists, and they're from the second generation. Look, we lost Ecstasy. We lost, and I'm talking about just the last few months, we lost a lot of artists. There's a record that I think Premier put out. Has anybody heard this record? Where he's talking about all the artists that have gone. I just heard it yesterday. It's I think it's Premier, and he's talking about all the artists who have checked out. So many, right? And of course, we're talking about people who are, like, you look at Hollywood and Sheba and Shaw. I mean, Shaw maybe not quite, but we don't talk about women's age. But they my age.
Man, go.
People my these motherfuckers check it out. So
you're right.
And then so even the next generation, with a lot of the guys we lost recently, were like kind of. Well, I don't guess Marky D was the next generation. He was just the beginning of recording artists. I guess he recorded in 84. But, you know, pre-79, pre-recorded music, those artists are old. I mean, I say that respectfully because I'm old. And a lot of them, I remember when Love Bug left, he left right around the same time as Joey, who was acting with the Sugar Hill Gang performing, and a few others. AJ, they all died of prostate cancer within a short time of each other. And I remember thinking then, wow, you know, I'm getting old. And, you know, I think now, and even then I wrote a book and I talked a lot about diet and health because it broke my heart to see so many young people dying. But, you know, people in their 60s, you know, I wake up and I don't read the New York Times, I read the obituaries. Say, which one am I? Make sure I'm not in it.
You're wrong for that.
So Hassan, tell us how Hip-Hop Hey Baby ties into all of this.
So NFTs sits on blockchain, which makes it crypto. So up until now, you had to use cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or whatever in order to buy NFTs. So there's a lot of confusion, but as Talisha said, this is really digital art. So here in the US, where a lot of people are discovering it, people were asking, how can I buy with a credit card or a debit card and that type of thing? So we, PayBaby being a digital bank, we went to payment processors and said, we want to sell these NFTs without getting, without having to go buy Bitcoin and trade it. That's not easy to do. Here in New York, it's restricted. There's only a few sites. So we managed to create, get a payment process and get a system where you can go to our site and just using your credit or debit card, you can buy the Masterminds of Hip-Hop. I don't know if you can see it here right now. It's paybabynft.com. And we're the first one actually to do it in the US. And we were able to do it because we're a digital bank. So we went to the processor and we said, we can do there's something called Know Your Customer or KYC AML. And crypto, since there's so many, in order to go at Coinbase or any of these sites, you have to do something called verification, ID verification, because there's so much anti-money laundering and all that other stuff in order to get an account and then trade it. But we convinced our processor that, hey, there's no, this is art. You shouldn't have to do that. So they agreed to that. But then they said some people are buying NFTs that trade it like cryptocurrency. So we said, okay, no problem. What we'll do is we'll do the back end. The people who collect the money, we'll do it on that side. And so that's how PayBaby NFT got the contract with Toku that got the Masterminds of Hip-Hop. So it makes it easy where you can just go in, find Masterminds, click on it, buy, boom, you get it, and then you have to get a wallet and that type of thing. But you don't have to buy it using cryptocurrency, and that's a major improvement, which is still evolving. I mean, Talisha and them know about cryptocurrency is a whole different way of buying things. And we make it possible to do it like you're just buying something at a regular e-commerce store.
Do you also have education on the site, Hassan? Because when you talk about crypto wallets, as someone who is a crypto investor, sometimes that process is overwhelming depending on what exchange you're going to. Does your site make it easy to navigate so that we remove all the barriers of entry, right? Because we know our people get frustrated fast. And if we make this thing too complicated or too questionable, we'll lose out on an opportunity because we're just not sure about it or it took too much time. So do you have some education on the site also helping them set up the wallet, walking them through the process?
Yeah, so if you go to our site afterwards, it walks you through the steps in order to get your wallet, in order to be on. So that's one thing. We have an FAQ. And most importantly, we have live customer service. Because of digital bank, the Wicked by PayBaby card, if you haven't done it, you should download it. It's an absolutely free card. You can get a free bank account. And we tie the two things together. So we actually make it very easy. And if you don't know anything, you can call or email, and we have chat. And we will, and in fact, we're getting a lot of compliments. We have this brother out of the Midwest, and he loves Mastermind Hip-Hop. I said, you can buy all of them, so you'll know what to do. He's excited too. So he's been taking a lot of calls as needed, and we continue to add every day. And just stay tuned. Right now, we make it super easy to buy. We have an FAQ. We have a live customer service, and we're adding more features every day to make it really easy to do. So as I showed you the site, okay, and you can look down and then you can see. Right now we have on our second drop here, so we're giving a special discount just for a couple of days, just to motivate people to come. And you can see, here's, you get the fan card, and then it tells you how you get rewards and some of the people on this collection, and then it goes in how many of each type. And then we also tell you how to access your purchase, what it takes in order to buy. So we're doing everything we can to make it easy as possible. And we're getting, every time we have someone with a question who's not sure, we add something new. And we're getting a lot of progress with that. So.
Very good, very good.
It's worth noting that the platform and all of it is evolving always, but we talk about art that will not be recreated. We're talking about collector's items that, getting them now makes all the sense in the world, because they're always going to be valuable and they're going to evolve in terms of how we own them. But they're minted, they're forever, they're there. And so when you own these pieces of art, they are worth their weight in gold. I think, when you buy something from an artist who's current, and we will be moving to more current artists, there are about a lot of bigger artists we're going to announce. But the artists, you never feel the same as if you bought something that can't be recreated or is not, we don't know how many of those cassettes, we don't know how many of these stories Hollywood will be able to tell. He's 60, I don't know, 6, 67, 60. Eddie Chiba's probably 64, These guys, Shah Rock, I don't know how old she is. I mean, we don't know how old everybody is, but they're not children. And they're not going to tell these stories. And their stories, like in a museum, you don't see current work. It will be there, but you don't see current work. This is, not as often, I'm sorry. Historical museums don't. I just feel like these histories are being told now for the first time properly by the artists, and they're not things that will evolve, not things that will change in terms of perception of what they are. They're already minted in terms of the minds of the first consumers. They also are older. So we're going to need our rich history told. That's why I said to do a documentary on the Masterminds and to do other projects to make sure that these stories, and in fact, make sure that these NFTs are valued properly.
Very good. We've got some questions in the Q&A. Ryan says, how can we personally reach out to you about our individual NFT ideas to help grow this project? Ryan, is your question for Russell or is your question for Hassan? You can clarify that for me, Ryan, in the chat.
We're going to come back to you, Ryan, on the answer on how best to submit NFTs to us. All right?
Okay, and that question was for you, Russell.
Okay, well, let me come back to you on that because I don't have a direct answer. We don't want, how many people on the call?
And you can go to Masterminds of Hip-Hop or Pay Baby NFT and give us your email, and we're going to, we'll follow up. So there's a way to get established communication with Russell and
there you go.
So we're going to make
it. Yeah, because right now, Russell, you got 181 people on the call. You don't want to give them your personal information.
But also that'll multiply, we hope.
Well, there's more online. This is just in the chat because there's
we're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on all social platforms, and we will replay this on all of our social platforms as well to the public.
Oh, good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, how late am I?
You weren't that late. You were just a few minutes late. You were fine. Okay. You were fine. Kevin has a question. Can an NFT, a digital entity, not be copied? Or if it can be copied, is that inconsequential?
Well, you have copies. I could leave this for Sam, but it's an easy one. You have pictures of great pieces of art. There's a lot of posters, and beyond the posters, there's just pictures of the posters, that aren't numbered, that aren't even from the artist. So yeah, we can copy art, but the original are numbered and minted and cannot be duplicated in terms of their value. So I think that's what we're talking about, making pieces of art that like in any other art form are original and authenticated and the rest of that. So that's really how it works.
And that's the beauty of blockchain. People can always do fraud, but then it wouldn't be the same as something on the block, and you can't take away the authenticity that exists of an NFT that sits on the blockchain.
That's what the non-fungible means. Like if you think of a dollar, any dollar can be replaced with another dollar or quarters or pennies or whatnot. This is where you have the original. If it's established as the original, that in itself is done. You will always have a record of that. Well, again, you can take a screenshot, but you don't have proof that you own it. And that's where the metadata that's attached to that record is now showing you that you have the exclusive ownership rights of it.
Good. Lee says the SEC has said that cryptocurrencies may be considered securities. Mm-hmm. Have there been any NFT cases that have passed or failed the Howey test? And the Howey test is what determines a security, just for those who don't know that. Mm-hmm. What are the legal or regulatory considerations with NFTs?
I can take that one in the sense that this is not being used to leverage to raise funds in this point. This is a true exchange. You are getting something for your payment. So in the aspect of a cryptocurrency, that's where the differences comes. It's a crypto asset, and that makes it very different. So when you're looking at it, there is an exchange, a transactional exchange that can go on in perpetuity, but at the same time, there is an exchange. It is not security in the sense that you're not leveraging it for raising funds for a business organization.
Right. And in many ways, baseball cards and other trading arts have been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
This is just the next format of that. And so when we started the project and when Tokyo and others, I mean, pretty much the top lawyers of America have all agreed it's not a security. The issues of concern is how people are possibly, just like people are using diamonds or whatever to trade and all that, that's always possible, but that doesn't make it a security. So it's a different type of asset versus cryptocurrency.
Very good. And Kevin says the Ethereum gas fees are outrageous. Yes, they are, Kevin. I'm hearing about other platforms like Terra, Columbus 5 that are working on ways to accept multiple contracts that are on different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was more of a comment.
Yes. Yeah, I could take that. The Masterminds of Hip-Hop is on Binance Smart Chain. It's a BSC20, and the gas fees are like about 1%. It's a lot cheaper, and the transmission time's a lot faster. But the beauty of the BSC, the Binance Smart Chain, which will get bigger, is that it actually sits on Ethereum virtual machine. So it's actually it actually is almost the same, but it has more power without all the cost of Ethereum.
Very good. Thank you for that. Janice, we answered what are NFTs, but for anyone who's coming late, Talisha, you want to go over that wonderful, thorough explanation you gave us in the beginning?
We'll just call it again. It stands for non-fungible token, and it truly is just a digital asset. It's a very unique digital asset, and that's what we talked about before, that it is not something that's replicatable. It is very unique, and it has the propensity to hold ownership, and it's also able to be programmed. So in the exchange that we have, I can keep in contact with you just as you can keep in contact with me as the buyer and seller, and we can have multiple aspects and transactions go through a life cycle with regard to this particular asset, but it is just a representation of an asset. Either it can be a physical one or a digital one, but in that sense that you have something to show your true ownership of it. And again, that makes it viable for you to gain competency from it. So there's a compensatory aspect to it of your ownership.
Very good. Ryan says, how do we handle producer/artist royalty splits when dealing with the NFT profits? Is this all embedded in the smart contract?
Hello, could you take that and explain 70 to 80%, depending on the deal, of the profitability of the NFT go back to the artist in this case. And then always forever, a piece of it goes with them as well. So the idea of this product was for me, I'm spending my energy on this so we can compensate and give credit to the artist. So there's, we tried to make sure that we gave as much compensation to the artist as possible in order to even run an operation, leaving us with a pretty razor thin profit margin. And that's just enough to kind of reinvest and rebuild. That's the intention.
Very good. Angela says, what are you purchasing when you buy the Mastermind of Hip-Hop NFT?
A piece of history.
Right.
And you're actually getting a song or a rap. I mean, you're getting something that you have, a lot of the stuff I hadn't heard in, forever. And it was, if people hear it again, it would be as good or better than anything you would hear today.
Well, we say that.
Dean says NFTs increase in value based on their scarcity. How many of these fan cards will be created per artist?
Various different numbers for different artists and price points as well. So you want to take that, Hassan?
Yes, actually, if you go to the site, either the Masterminds of Hip-Hop or you go to PayBaby NFT, it tells you how many there are and the probability of it. So all that is, we disclose all that. And so that's some they have more, some have less, but it doesn't really matter because on one level, even if you look at some things, they even have more, they get really popular and then they become more valuable. So, but all that's listed on the site.
So Hassan, Miranda wants us to go to the site, Hassan.
Okay, I was going to try to do that. Let's see if I can get you.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. I was going to try to show the NFT.
Star Rocks.
What's that?
He said pull up Star Rocks.
Okay, I'm trying to show it here. The Masterminds, where we go. Some of the people.
You show my first one if you like too.
Okay,
let's go a couple.
I'm having a little trouble here. Hold on. Oh, I love your picture, Sharat. Hold on, I gotta stop for a moment and find it.
Thank you, sir.
And Miranda wants us to go to the drop. She wants that very badly.
Yeah,
she has told us multiple times to go to the drop.
Set up right before we go. But when you're live,
Man,
you're on all these buttons, right? You're like, okay, where do I click? Hold on.
You want to continue with the questions while he pulls that up?
Yeah, Roxanne is asking, is the platform just for hip hop artistry only, or will there be R&B soul artists as well at some point?
Well, the Masterminds of Hip-Hop will not include other artists, but and maybe, you know, as we get down the road, assuming that this is successful, and then we get down the road, there'll be more R&B in our hip-hop, which is what, you know, evolved. But we started, it was rebellion against R&B, right? That history was people didn't have anything represented there. You know, we were listening to black radio in the 70s. We heard YMCA by Village People and Patrick Juvet's I Love America. We listened to disco. That was all we had on black radio. In New York, black radio had turned to gay disco music. And that was a golden era, but we didn't have funk. We didn't have nothing in black radio in New York. And so hip hop has recreated the funk, right? And they really rebelled against what was commercial music. And then the more polished R&B also was something that, you know, we kind of, all of us, and Chuck D talks a lot about that, we kind of despised it. Like, we were B-boys and B-girls. Like, we wasn't trying to hear soft R&B. So we didn't at that time acknowledge or work with. In fact, we were rebelling against R&B music. Today, of course, it's totally integrated, but it wasn't like that back then. So as we get further into the future, we'll have more collaborations, I'm sure. Some of the music that'll be played, you know, in the NFTs, and we'll see. But I think mostly, you know, it's hard to carve out some of the new Jack artists and other artists, because that's where it started to converge and started to collaborate, and you started to get, you know, this fusion. But early on, there was no fusion. There was actually just a rebellion and a disdain for the gatekeepers of pop black culture or mainstream black culture. And the mainstream didn't like us any more than we liked them. And in fact, I think we didn't like them because they demonstrated a disdain for us. You know, they didn't like, you know, if you look at the record people, you know, not to knock them, but we had the little alligator shoes on and then no socks. You know, I already sound like I don't like them now. They had the little Louis Vuitton bag. Niggas had suits. And they used to look at us like, and the hood. And they really felt, rather than feeling that these people were reflections of our suffering in some cases, our mindset, our culture, our belief system in the hood, They had escaped the hood, they thought, in many ways. Look at the record executives that were making the choices. They didn't like us. So because of that, it kind of pushed us more into our corners to create something that's where Sucker MC came from. So where's the music? I didn't want shit to sound like nothing they made. The records I produced, I intentionally stayed away from any instrumentation that they used. And that was what, that was part of it. We would use jazz, we'd use rock and roll, we use old funk, but we would not use anything to do it, even though Good Time was the original. And then right around the same time, we had Christmas Rapping on the Shelf. Those were producers. I didn't produce Christmas Rapping, right? I wanted to make Bob James Mardi Gras from 1978. I wanted to record that. When we were starting to talk about recording, that was to use, but Christmas Rapping came, and a more commercial, accessible record came. But that wasn't our intention as the rappers and the DJs. It was the intention of the people who had access to the record business. And that's good. I mean, we had, then again, Bobby Robinson really listened to the street and made records like the Spoonie G records and the real B-boy records that came out. Of course, they weren't as successful, but today they stand up.
Right.
Duck MC came end of 82. It gave, it brought us back home, away from whoever was trying to make R&B, because I was young. I was able to produce a record, right? And I was able to make a record that sounded more, reflected more the energy that we had in hip hop clubs and hip hop ballrooms. Then, because of course, those R&B records were good, but they just opened the door for us to really, kind of take the reins and make what we wanted to make.
Good.
I have,
JD?
I
Go
have
ahead,
an
son.
NFT real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh, perfect.
From A to Z, it's a little black fish that belongs to me. What's your name, your number, and your address too. When I wanna talk, it's all up to. When I'm by myself, the all night long. I just turn to the office and reach from the phone.
Every year, I was given a birthday party throughout New York City. This flyer represents one of those birthday celebrations held at Stevenson High School in the Bronx. Many groups and MCs would always come out and perform. My crew will always remind everyone that I was New York City's #1 female MC.
Small sample.
That's true.
That's wonderful.
That's true.
Wonderful.
Facts.
Thank you, Russell. That's true. Facts.
We want to hold that up in front of young people. You got any more as well?
Yeah, sure. Hold on just a second.
The other Shah Rock. I think the other Shah Rock sounds like a hit today, Shah Rock.
Let's see.
Wow. Thank you, Russell.
Here we go, right here.
Hello, everyone. This is MC Shah. I'm
Yeah.
so excited to be a part of the NFT for Masterminds of Hip-Hop. It gives me such great honor to be amongst some of the most phenomenal artists in hip-hop culture. Finally, an NFT that represents hip-hop culture to the fullest.
There you
True.
go.
Very, very good. So JD has an interesting question here. JD says, how can we feel comfortable that NFTs are not just a fad or a trend? What makes it such an artifact, if I can use that word?
I'll take that one in the sense that it's an old use case. With this technology, blockchain technology has been here and all the applications that have spawned. So every piece of the technology has been in place for years. We've had encryption, we've had immutability, we've had decentralization. We have now merged those into this technology, and the applications are inherent of those things. So technology is not going anywhere. So if you say like the internet isn't going anywhere, nor is blockchain. And so these things that are produced from that are only going to grow. So if you think about your old AOL.com address, somebody still has that. It could be used for many things. It still works and it's viable for many different things. But at this point, it's probably your old email address. These are particularly fusing art and history with each other. And now you have a commodity that can be leveraged across the board, even just for your own sake. But now there is a compensatory aspect to holding onto that. And that's what makes this is not a fad. This is not going anywhere, because there's things that are in place that are pillars that hold this in place for it to be sustainable and move forward very tangentially to everything that we're doing right now.
Very good. I saw a question here about beneficiary rights, and now I can't find it.
I answered that for Ms. Vivian, yes. And digital assets can be inherited, and there are different ways of doing that with regard to safeguarding them and also being put into inheritance aspects to them. So that is very possible with your NFTs as well as your cryptocurrencies.
So very good point there. I want to put a pin there just for a minute. You know, we talk about generational wealth, right? I don't know how many times we hear that on a daily basis in our community. So what we're hearing is that you can pass these NFTs down. They are an asset that you can have, you know, a beneficiary be the new owner of that. So consider that when we talk about building wealth and generational wealth and how these NFTs will be of greater value than they are today. You know, this is something for you to consider. Do your own due diligence, obviously, but it's definitely something for you to seriously consider. Right. Ryan says, what is your legal team advise regarding the NFT scene? Ryan, that's a very big question. What do you mean? Be more specific for us on that one. And then I'll come back to you. Kevin says, thank you, Russell, for what you've done for hip hop. Are you willing to create a digital channel again, like Global Grind, on a blockchain network?
I'm open to support young entrepreneurs who want to do it. I have lots of service and things that I have to bring to the Black community. I was telling Hassan, my non-compete in financial service ends this week. And so we built another infrastructure to go back to work and to create another community bank, which will be operational very soon. And I feel like we invested in all the 25 nonviolence programs, and we invested in so many other things that mattered in the community. And we created ways for people who are unbanked, underbanked to work 20 years ago. And a lot of those innovations are the core of that next generation. And now they finally understand what we were doing. And so there's a big market that needs to be addressed, that needs to be Black owned in part. And I think I have to do it just so I could be a part of the exchange between the Black community and people who benefit from having proper banking services and all. I shouldn't even call them digital banking services. As Hassan is addressing that, because it's so big and we are so locked out of it. And sometimes you got to do it yourself. Sometimes, and a lot of the other things I'm doing, right, are things about consciousness and just giving people. My last chapter is about lifting people up. So even by creating a digital bank again, it's going to invest in community, and pretty much everything I earn will go back. So, you know, my future is about giving. This was something that fit into that mindset, right? Entertainment is not something I'm going to address that heavily in this last chapter of my life. But this particular thing, when I think about the founding fathers and mothers of hip hop and how they were underpaid and represented, and, you know, I need their stories told. It's something I feel that I have to do if no one else does it. And I also feel, because I'm a lot less biased, I think, as a promoter and traveling to different boroughs, I learned a little bit about everything versus, you know, being stuck in one borough at one corner of one borough. And I think, not that I want to curate it, I think the artists themselves in this documentary will curate it. Enough artists will tell a story. You'll walk away with a better sense of what really is the foundation of hip hop than the way it's depicted today.
Very good. So we do have a hard stop at 7:45. So for anyone else who has questions, because we do have quite a few questions that we're not going to be able to get to, I apologize for that, guys. What's the best way for anyone to get their questions answered? Because again, this is about removing the barriers of entry, right? We want people to feel comfortable. We want them to be able to go to the site and execute a purchase. What's the best way, Hassan or Russell, for everyone to get any additional questions answered?
Well, first I suggest you either go to the Masterminds of Hip-Hop or to Pay Baby NFT and look at the product and buy something. And I think it's very easy. You could do it within a few minutes, and you'll see what's possible there. So that's the first step. And then
and Hassan, I want to say again, you said you have customer service. So if anyone has trouble clicking on something and finalizing a purchase, then customer service number is on the site as well, right? For them to be able to reach out to?
Yes, we have customer service, we have email, and we have chat. So we
Wonderful.
have, and people have been using them, and that's been working out good. So if you go to the bottom of the PayBaby site, PayBaby NFT site, you'll see, I think it's info@paybabynft.com, and we'll get back to you within hours, or maybe minutes, depending on time of day. And our call center hours are from like 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central time. So it's pretty much all day US time. And so, and we're on standby for that. And then if you, for whatever reason, don't get to us, send us an email and we'll be sure to, reply right away. And then you could also go to Masterminds of Hip-Hop. You can get samples. I'm showing some drops here. Maybe I'll play a little.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Same was in the beginning.
Play
With
music that goes with that, Hassan.
Huh?
Could you play the music?
The music with that? Okay. Which one? I just started from the top. I just clicked it.
Hollywood. Yeah, then.
Let's see, there may be another one. I was thinking of the one where he with the music.
One that a
early
vocal.
stages of what's
No,
called.
this one doesn't have it here. So
Well, they shouldn't be on the site. The NFT that we music.
yeah, it is on the site. I'm just not quite.
No, but I mean, they shouldn't be on the site with just the vocals because they have the music is attached to them.
Yeah, it's in there. It's a matter of where it is in the clip. I'm just clipping.
So at the beginning,
So I was trying to get rap. I know one of them. Yeah, it started with his rap. I don't seem to have that one here. But in any event, I don't want to take up all the time, but
But I do love that you're clicking in here. So for everyone watching, when you go to the site, click in and listen to the entire the entire reel, right? So don't just click for a moment, click and listen to it. And then, that's going to be a good way to determine which one you want to purchase also.
and that's what Russell
Shop in here like you shop on a clothes rack. Take your time, look at it.
That's right. Yeah, I'm clicking fast because we don't have that much time, but it's all there. Okay.
Lawrence just said he purchased two. It took less than a couple minutes. So
wonderful. Look at that. Very good.
Very good.
Very, very good. This has been awesome. I want to,
Yes.
any final words that you guys have? MC Shyrock, any final words you have about the project, about anything?
Listen, all I want to say is thank you, Russell, for having the dream to bring hip hoppers together and be celebrated. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody out there that's thinking about buying those NFTs. Hip hop for life. That's what we represent. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Hassan, any final words for you?
Thank you, Tawana. I love the 10K project. This is all about our community helping each other and helping ourselves and building wealth for ourselves. And we're at a time and place where we can do it. We know NFTs now. We know crypto. We can bring hip hop together. We're not dependent on others. And we can be as big as anybody out there in the world. And the Mastermind of Hip-Hop is a great example of that.
Very good. Talisha?
as we move into Web 3.0, which is what this technology is, we can move from just simple consumers to actually ownership. And that is a very strong aspect to this, that we created so much. There's a wealth in our community, not just in dollars, but in talent and access and all the things that we have. We now have the technology to truly capitalize upon that. And even if it takes some time, just dive in and try. And we're always here to help you, because this is for us, by us. So we need to keep that momentum and keep that attitude as we move forward with these technologies.
Very good.
Thank you, Talisha.
Russell?
Oh.
He clicked out.
Did we lose him?
Yes.
Oh.
Right up
We'll
there.
hop back in. I'll just, I'll say my final words. First of all, again, thank you guys for joining us. I am a firm believer, for those of you who are 10K members, I say this all the time, but I mean it. I believe that the greatest gift we can give is our time. And so for you guys to come on this evening and spend some time with us means the
Yeah, I
world
do
to
have
us here.
I got disconnected.
Oh, there you go, Russell. Okay, go ahead, Russell, jump in.
What I wanted to say is, this is the labor of love for me. A lot of the artists, really, if we don't do it now, it may never be told properly. So to have the artists come together and by a collective decide on how their stories should be told and how the history of hip hop should be told is a worthy pursuit for me and for my time. And so I'm excited to do it. And I feel like it's an important part of my life that I have to share, and not my life so much as all the artists whose lives should be enhanced by this process. So as we have new technology, we have new ways of telling stories. We can make this interesting and exciting for the next generations. And I think that's going to make a difference in the lives of the artists, the rest of their lives of the artists who some are pushing my age, which is almost like, right? So it's a great pleasure for me to do this work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, thank you so much for your time. For those of you who are 10K members, we do have our Bet on Black pitch that's happening tonight. We have an entrepreneur that we are coming to rally around. That's what we do at the 10K Project. We fund Black businesses. And so we bring every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we bring a Black entrepreneur that's raising money via equity crowdfunding. And we help them get the capital that they need so that they can scale and grow, and so that they can come back to the community and give jobs to this community, and so that we can keep that Black dollar in this community longer than the ridiculous 6 hours that the statistics say that it currently circulates in this community. And so that's what we stand for here at the 10K Project. And tonight we're getting ready to do that. So it's my best night of the week. It's where I actually feel the most joy in my life, is helping these Black entrepreneurs realize their dreams. And so if you are a member of the 10K Project, you know where the link is. Y'all got it in your email. If you're not yet a member of the 10K Project, please consider joining us tonight. Tonight's session is an example of the education that we bring to you. And so, please come. We won't always have someone amazing like Russell and MC Sha-Rock here. Sometimes it's just going to be us talking to you and educating you. But it's all about education and building Black wealth and uplifting our community. So all of these missions, the mission that Russell has, the mission that Pay Baby has, the mission that 10K Project has, the mission that Black Blockchain Consultants has to educate, they all tie together. And there are a ton of organizations out there doing the same thing. So if you don't join 10K, please join someone. Join someone's journey where you can learn how to build wealth, right? We'd love it for it to be us, but I just want you to do better for yourselves. I just want you to do better for your children and for your children's children. And we want to educate you and teach you on how to do that and expose you to opportunities that allow you to do that. What we're doing is we're bringing Black entrepreneurs to you to show you their success, right? And they're not just bragging about how successful they are, they're giving you the roadmap on how you can get there too. And so I thank you all for joining us this evening. Again, this Bronx girl is excited tonight because I was in the presence of hip hop royalty. So big ups. I'm gonna be smiling all night, okay?
Look, I'm joining 10K. I can't get on tonight, but I will get on, Tawanda. I'm joining.
Yes, sis, yes.
I'm gonna join. Yes.
I'm so excited. God bless you all. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Good night. Great
Hi,
job.
Talisha.